Let's consider this so let me read the example for you guys now. So determine the design level of forces due to earthquake on a six-story, repeat noted, six-story concrete frame hospital using the equivalent lateral force procedure. So the structure is selected as a hospital to illustrate the use of importance factors in calculating seismic design loads using the procedures of ASCA SCI 7-10. Although we're using the 7-16, 7-10 and 7-16 guys, wala namang pagkakaiba yan. Okay? So some states have additional requirements for hospitals which are not addressed by this example. So the structure is located in Memphis, Tennessee, for which the maximum considered earthquake values are determined from the SGS maps to be SS equals 2.0 and S1 is 0.9. Then the structure is located on soil determined to be site class C. Each floor is 12 feet in height, and the value of W for each floor is determined to be 450 kilopounds, and for the roof 200 kilopounds. Okay, so let's list bakit ko naman itong notes ko? So let's list the given. So the first given is it's actually a six-story. What displays the presentation six-story building. What displays representations by name? Six-story siya. And then it's a hospital, no? It's a hospital. So another given or mga given pa dito is ano pa ba? We have the location is in Memphis, Tennessee, and then yung MCE values natin, we have SSV equal to 2.0, and then S1 is equal to 0.9. Okay, so the structure is located on a soil determined to be soil site class. So the soil class or site class C, and then each floor is 12 feet in height. So height of X is equal to 12 feet. And then we have WB equals to 450, that is for each level. And then W ng roof is equal to 200K. So those are actually the given. Okay. So let's try to solve this one. The first step is actually to determine the values of your FA and your FB. Okay. So your FA and FB okay, so let's determine the value of FA and okay. So determine the values of your FE and FE. Now, what I want you to do is to check your copies, guys. Go to table D.1. So, go to table D.1. Punta kayo sa table D.1. Okay, so are you now in table D.1? Okay, I presume you're already in table D.1. So, check natin yung first table. So this is your the values of your D.1 table D.1. So we have here the maximum considered earthquake spectral response acceleration parameter. So we have to look kasi for the value of FA and your FB. Now, using this table, i-check muna natin kung anong soil class. So, as you can see, it's soil class C. Okay? So, wala tayong problema sa soil class C. Now, let's identify kung saan siya magpo-fall. Okay? So, what's the value of your SS? It's 2.0. So, saan siya magpo-fall, guys? So, yung SS ninyo, which is this one, okay, your SS value is 2.0. So, that will fall under SS greater than or equal to 1.25. Tama ba? Tama ba? This is greater than or equal to 1.25. Correct? So I presume
Yes, sir.
it's correct. It's easy for you to understand that it is greater than or equal to 1.25. So yung SS mo dyan is greater than or equal to 1.25 and then soil classification C. So what will be the value of our FA in the table? That is equal to
One, sir.
One, sir. One.
1. Okay. So, ganun lang kabilis, guys, ang mag-anap ng value of your FA. Now, table D.1 naman. Okay. So, we need to determine the value of FB. So, the FB value will be determined using the soil class and your S1 value. So, in this particular problem, your S1 is 0.9, which is greater than or equal to 0.5. So, this will fall under the last column and then soil class mo C. So, malamang sa malamang, your FB value will be equal to 1.3. Okay, so that is how you're going to use the table. All the values in here, as you can see, are the values of your FA and your FB. Okay, so yun lang naman, guys. That is how it is for you to determine your FA and FB. Okay. So going back, I'm gonna use another color in. So your FA now is equal to 1, while your FB is equal to 1.3. Okay. What is the next step? So the next step is actually nagkikipagkompetensya ka ba sa akin? Alam mo po. Sige, okay lang. Masyado ba ako malakas? Oo, sobra. Narinig niyo ba, guys, si Sir Vix? Do you guys hear sa background ko, or ako lang yung naririnig niyo?
Yes, po, sir.
Ako lang naman. Clear ba?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, masyado, naririnig ka daw nila. Oh, hindi ako okay lang yan. Lalakasan ko na lang yung boses ko. Okay. So, second step naman is actually to determine the values of your SMS and SMS. Okay, so let's determine the value of your SMS and your SM1. Okay, so going back to your photocopies, you have the formula for your SMS and SM1, guys. Okay, so the value for your SMS is given by this equation, which is equal to FA multiplied by your SS, and then SM1 naman is equal to FB multiplied by S1. Okay. So what will be our value? So this is now equal to 1 multiplied by 1. How about that? No, it's actually multiplied by SS. So that's 2. Okay. So your SS value, okay, tingnan kayo dito. This is your SS value, guys, here. Yeah, that's your SS value. So that is now equal to 1 multiplied by 2. Okay. And then ito naman, FE, that's 1.3 multiplied by your S1, which is equal to 0.9. So this is 0.9. What is it? Baka is 0.9. Okay. Would you mind calculating the values? Anong sagot natin? So this is 2, and then yung pangalawa is 1 point, what is 1.3 multiplied by 0.9?
1.17.
Is it 1.17? Okay, so that is 1.17. So isusulat ko na lang here your SMS and SM1 value. Okay, so this is 2 and this is 1.17. Okay. So we now have the SMS and SM1 value. What's the next step? The next step is to determine your SDS and your SD1. Okay, SDS and SD1. So we have as well on your photocopies or on your week 10 copy, we have a formula for SDS and SD1, and that's just equal to the 2/3 of your SMS and SM1 respectively. Okay. Okay, so yan yung ating formula. So what will be the values of your SDS and SD1? So this is now 2/3, the multiplied by your SMS, which is 2, and this is 2/3 multiplied by 1.17. Okay, so what are the values of your SD, tawag dito, your SDS and SD 1? 1 point, and then this is 0 point, ano, 1.33, and then yung pangalawa will be 0.78. Okay, so those are the values of your SDS and your SD1. Okay, so I'm gonna write here sa ating quick note yung ating SDS value and SD1. The SDS value is 1.33, and your SD1 value is 0.17. Okay, so next step, this is step 4 now. Now, so far clear pa naman, do you guys follow or not? Nafa-follow niyo pa ba? So next is determine risk and seismic importance factors. Okay, so we have to determine the risk and seismic importance factors. Okay, proceed to table D.2 guys, and please identify kung anong magiging risk category natin and kung ano ang magiging importance factor nito. Okay, what's our risk category? Okay, so what's our risk category, guys? Going back to your photocopies. What's our risk category? I'm pretty much sure hindi kayo stranger in terms of knowing the risk categories of a building. So we're currently analyzing frame, okay, from a hospital plan. Okay, sabi dito po, hospital siya. So anong risk category ng hospital? Four. You always know that, please know that a hospital should function during and after an earthquake. So it is important that the structure is stable siya and kumbaga risk-free. Okay, so risk category 4. So what's the importance, what's the corresponding importance factor in terms of risk category 4?
1.5.
1.05. Okay, so those are now your values. No? Okay. So, you know what, I'm just gonna erase this. So, sulit ko siya dito sa quick notes, guys, para kahit pa paano. Kung mag-scroll man ako, nakikita niyo siya. And then this is importance factors equal to 1. Excuse me. Okay. So we now have identified the risk category and the importance factor. Let's proceed to the next step. Okay. So the next step is actually to determine the seismic design category or your SDC. Okay, so determine your SDC or your seismic design category. So proceed to your table 3.D.3, D.3 guys, dog point. Okay. So dyan makikita nyo kung anong requirement natin for the SDC. Okay. So meron tayong dalawang type ng SDC. Okay. So, ano ang value ng ating STS? Okay, yung STS value natin kanya is 1.33 and then yung SD1 natin is 0.73. Now, it is under category 4. So, what will be the value or what will be our SDC classification?
Paano natin palalabasin yung mga text or image dito sa ating slide? Sa PowerPoint?
Okay. B. Is that for both the SDS and the SD1?
Wala mo nang magpapakita.
Yes.
Okay. So SDS kasi natin is actually greater than or equal to 0.50. Okay. And then category 4 siya. So this will fall under SDC classification B. So yung SD1 nyo naman, that is greater than or equal to 0.20. Okay. So this will as well fall under SDC B. Okay. So I hope we're clear with this particular step. Next step natin. So malapit na tayo matapos yung word. Next step will be to determine the response modification coefficient. Okay. So determine
Okay, thank you so much, Marga. Marga, okay na. Marga. Marga. Uy, Marga. Marga, okay na. Tapos lang tayo. Pwede lang mo po. Okay, next na sasagot.
or that is your R. Okay, so let's identify the response modification coefficient. So how do we determine the response modification coefficient? Okay, proceed to the last table of your pen. Makita nyo doon, di ba guys, yung table B.4. So, nandiyan lahat guys yung response modification coefficient. Okay. Okay. So, how do we determine the response modification coefficient? So, I'm gonna switch back and ito siya. Balikan natin. Okay. So, ito yung response modification coefficient. So, saan ba magpo-fall dito yung ating hospital? Saan magpo-fall yung hospital natin? Okay. Guys, how do you identify kung saan magpo-fall yung brain natin? Magpo-fall ba siya sa bearing wall system? Di ba we already identified or we already talked about the bearing wall system, the building frame system, and the moment resisting frames. So, may pagkakaiba itong tatlong ito. Ngayon, in the case of a hospital, saan siya magpo-fall? Is it the bearing wall system, the building frame system, or the moment resisting frame? Another question is that if magpo-fall siya in these three general types, anong subtype niya? So I'm gonna give you like a few minutes. Excuse me lang saglit. So think of it muna. And then balikan ko kayo. Saglit lang.
Yung mga vegetables. So, yun yung dalawang options na pwede natin gawin. Next, kung mga alis na yung isang katangol. Hindi yung CR ako. Nakamit ba yan? Nakamit ka doon?
Hindi.
Ayoko nga para may bibigyan ng isa subok sila.
Wait lang.
Big ka.
Ayoko nga.
Okay, sige.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so what will be the R value? What will be our R value, guys? What is our R value?
We can print. We can print 5 slides in 1 page.
Hello? Huwag niyong hintayin guys na isa-isahin ko kayo ha. And if you cannot respond, I will mark you absent. Okay. So what will be our R value? Any guess?
Pwede ba tayo mag-print ng 5 pages lang or 2 pages? Actually, 5 pages lang yung nagagawa.
What is our R value?
1 slide, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9 slides.
Rivera.
Ang sagot mo na false ay true. Ang false ang sagot mo? Sige, tama. Dahil false ang sagot mo.
What is our R value, Rivera? Dito ba si Rivera?
Okay. Let's go.
Sir?
What's our R value? What do you think is our R value?
Sino lang? Sino ba? Naiwan? Sige, tawarin natin. Ang susunod. Naiwan lang si Cassandra. Cassandra Propagao.
What is our R value? Mag-guess lang kayo, guys. Okay, tingnan natin kung alam niyo ba or you know how to identify.
Masaya ba? Masaya ba?
Ano na, maghihintay ba ako dito? Sige, I will kick out na lang yung hindi makakasagot. Okay.
Special na lang, sir.
Special. Which is special? Maraming special dito.
Natin makikita sa PowerPoint
Special reinforced concrete shear wall, sir.
para mabago natin.
Okay, so what's your R value then? It's 8.
Halimbawa, ang screen natin ay haba, rectangular. Pero yung PowerPoint
How about bueno?
kaya nasa gitna. So, meron yung part sa PowerPoint na pwede natin siya
Sir,
size ng full screen.
Anong R value mo?
So, saan siya?
sa A din, sir.
Ano?
Saan tao?
Sa A din, sir, sa special reinforced concrete shear wall.
Okay, sige. 2 points na to.
So, yun sa review.
Domingo.
So, the correct answer is sige, natanong ko si John Lloyd. Do you agree? Yes, John Lloyd?
Special reinforced concrete wooden frame, sir.
Sige ha. Kawilan.
Sir, 8 po, sir.
Pero 8 naman ko. Wala man lang gusto magdali. Okay, narag.
8 din po, sir.
Padua.
Sir, yung intermediate.
Intermediate. So like 5. Tama. Okay. Isa na ang tao dun sa 5. Intermediate. Reinforced concrete model. Ngayon, ikaw naman. Man. Guzman. Hello, good morning. Joseph. Wala. Nag-cut. Oh, I almost learned na. Parang yung nagbibiro. Ayoko na nag-chat. Sino yon? 8, sir. 8 po, sir. Ba't ayaw niyo mag-unmute? What's the problem?
dati kasi, yung unang labas ng barcode, yung mga unang barcode, ganito lang yung size.
What's the problem, Guzman? Why can't you unmute? The problem is a microphone.
Sir, di ba kasi gumagana yung mic ko, sir?
Sino yung sumasagot? Sino to?
Guzman, sir. Eh, kasama ko pa kasi si Matthew. Bali, di ba kasi gumagana yung mic ko, sir? Sorry po.
Okay, Mr. 8. O ngayon. So, there are only one who wants to deviate from the 8. Next, Kalami.
Sir, 8, sir.
Okay. Pag nakaabot ng 10 to, next question will be ganun ha. Why 8? Colleen Almondia.
Sir, yung 8 po, yung reinforced concrete frame po.
Luyon.
Sir, yung 8 po.
Oh, Bakay.
Yung 8 din po, sir.
Oh, 10 to. Oh, explain nyo na kung bakit 8. Aaron. Kita. You just say you have no idea kung meron na.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir?
Hello, yeah, you can explain.
Hello, sir?
Ano ba? Hello?
Hello, sir?
Hello, can you please explain why we're gonna use 8?
Sir, ganun, sir. Dun sa NSCP, sir. Siya yung parang mas malapit, sir. Dun
Are
sa
you
explanation,
sure?
sir.
Sure ka?
Yun lang yung ganun, sir. Yung parang basis ko, sir.
Sa code? Anong section ng code to? What's the section of the code? Ito, sige, kalika.
Hindi ko na humalan. Pero kasi mostly sir ginagamit.
Okay.
Sir. Yung isa 8 sir. Yun yung mostly ginagamit.
Wow. So, suddenly, mas ginagamit yon. Okay, sige. Tapos kanina, sabi niya nakalimutan niya na earthquake. Ngayon, mas ginagamit siya. Okay, it's really hard to believe. Okay, next, Salvador. J. Lord.
Sir, ano yung question, sir?
Oh, you're not listening.
Ay, yung ganun, sir, bakit 8?
Ay, no. Oh my
Kasi
God.
po,
What have you been doing? J. Lord, wait lang. J. Lord, I'm not really in a good mood, okay, for the entire week. So, makinig kayo when I am asking questions because ayoko nang paulit-ulit, okay?
yes, sir.
It's so annoying na paulit-ulit na lang. Ugali ninyo, pakiayos. Okay. Anyway, next, Pader. Okay, wala din to si Pader. Wala to. Final call for Pader.
Sir. Sir, meron po.
Oh, why 8?
Kasi base po sa problem is concrete frame po siya.
Concrete frame. Pero lahat naman nandito, reinforced concrete. Oh, you have shear wall. You have intermediate reinforced concrete moment frame. You have ordinary reinforced concrete moment frame.
Yun po yung idea ko, sir.
Okay, magulod.
Sir, yun po kasi yung dating ginagamit ng ng engineer, sir.
Sino? Sino yan?
Yung magulod po, sir.
I mean, sino yon? Dating engineer. Sino yon? Like who?
Okay. Ano yung sabi ko?
Like who? Sinong gumagamit nito? Like you mentioned, it's being used by an engineer.
Sa earthquake engineering po, sir, mostly po yung ito po, yung kadalasang ginagamit po, sir. Earthquake engineering po.
Earthquake engineering. Okay. Benitez.
Sir. Yung ano po, sir, special reinforced concrete moment frame, sir. Yung
8. O, bakit nga 8?
8. Kasi ano, sir, yun po, yun yung mostly ginagamit pag ano, sa mga seismic loads, yun, sir.
Okay. Sige. Okay, sige. Hawat dyan balisi. Mukhang hindi tayo aabos dun sa pinakadulo. Pero later on.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Ikaw naman, what's your explanation?
Sir, yun kasi yung laging ginagamit kapag mostly pag sa concrete, sir. Kasi kapag pagkakalam ko is, sir, pag steel kasi yung structure is, yung R is 8.5 pa ata, sir. Tapos 8 kapag
8.5.
dun sa concrete, sir, yung building structure.
Alright, sige. We're gonna end na lang muna with John Balisi. So we'll have these people later on join me. Let's take a screenshot.
Sige, papipiliin din kita. Word, Excel, or PowerPoint.
Alright. So ganito yun, guys. When it comes to risk category number 4, or the essential facilities in the ACI code and the ASCE code, they actually give more. Kumbaga na sa hierarchy siya. In the hierarchy of importance, okay, we put the hospital, okay, at the top of the hierarchy. Okay. Lahat yung nasa category 4, okay, na tawag dito, category 4 na classification is actually under the special reinforced concrete moment. Okay? Kasi from the word special itself, you're giving it meticulous, kumbaga, bibigyan mo pa siya ng mas conservative, and bibigyan mo pa, pagtutuunan mo talaga ng pansin. Kumbaga, para siyang special child. Kailangan pagtuunan ng pansin. Ibubuhos mo doon yung pinaka-attention mo. Okay? That is why we are using special reinforced concrete moment frame. And as you can see in our values, take note that this is the response modification coefficient. Using the larger value will result to a bigger lateral force. Okay? So kung 8 yung pinili mo, it will give you the maximum value of your lateral forces. Okay? Mas matindi yung pinakonsider mo lateral force na mag-a-act sa building if you're gonna use 8. Okay? So that is the explanation for your dito, response modification coefficients. Okay. So we now have the value of the response modification coefficient. Okay. So R now is equal to 8. Okay. So we now have that. What is the next step? Okay. After determining the response modification factor, we need to determine the fundamental period of the structure. Okay. Fundamental period of your structure. Okay, fundamental period T. So what's our formula for T? What's our formula for T?
Ano siya i-activate mo? I-right click mo yung sa taas.
What is our formula for T? Goodness. Nandiyan sa copy ninyo. Hanapin nyo na lang yung T. Is it hard to look?
Huwag din sa red.
What is the formula for T?
Sa upper left.
God. Jesus Christ. Ayun guys, so you have here TA value. So we have CTHX raised to X and then 0.1. And gamitin niyo yung mga mata ninyo. Okay. So sulat ko dito CTH and raised to X and then 0.1. Okay. So in this particular problem, what will be the formula that we are going to use? Kasi there are two, right? So anong gagamitin namin formula? What formula are we going to use?
Yeah.
Ay, so nag-end kanina. Balutok.
0.1 and
0.1 N. Okay. How about, so we have TA here. So the first formula, wala. So second formula. How about, Bengkan?
Sir, 0.1 din.
1. Next, Malfi.
Sir. 0.1 N din, sir.
Palogan.
CTH sub n raised to x, sir.
Okay. So next is Pamiktan. Pamiktan. Wala din. Ito sa Pamiktan, final call for Pamiktan. Narinig di ba ako? Nag-chat pa siya. Okay, wala. Pintukan. Ano? 0.1. Yeah. Salada.
0.1, sir.
O bakit 0.1 na lang? Lapangan.
Yung checkbox na sa control din. Umalis na dyan sa rate. Skip ko na dyan kasi nasa loob sa rate list.
Sir, yan na po yung mga equate po, sir.
What?
Sir, yung yan po yung the box po na para siya yung nagagamitin, sir.
Are you sure? Dahil doon? What? Oh, you explain na lang to me the difference between the two formula.
Umalis ka muna dyan. Ibig sabihin, enter ka. Enter mo. Keyboard. Enter.
O lapangan. You don't know the difference between the two formula?
Escape.
You can just say no, ha? Huwag yung piliting pigain yung utak niyo.
Lubog. Ilabas
Okay.
niya.
Siyempre, hindi ko po alam. Okay, mas na-appreciate ko pa yun kung hindi niyo talaga alam. Kasi maghihintay ako ng explanation.
No po, sir.
Next slide.
Okay, next. Aaron.
Yan. Sige ba? Ito ba enter? So, ang gusto kong ipakita mo yun, kung paano gamitin yung checkbox.
Oh, mali. Okay. Garcia.
Sir sabi po kasi sa problem is 6 story siya. Tapos, pag 6 story po 0.1 and ang gagamitin.
Are you sure?
Tira lang, sir.
Hindi. Dapat panindigan niyo yung mga sinasabi ninyo, guys, ha? Okay. So, Well, may point si Miss Garcia. Very good. So, it means nakikinig talaga siya, no? Gagamitin niyo yung unang formula, guys. CTH areas to X kapag greater than 12 story yung inyong structure. So, in the case of the problem, 6 story na. So, kapag 6 story and yung height ng kanyang floor level, okay, is, ito ha, from the floor to the ceiling, okay, per level, minimum is like 10 feet. Okay. 10 feet. Okay, so that's like 3 meters. Gagamitin nyo yung 0.1. Okay, so, in our case, 6-story lang to, tapos ang height ng per story is 12 feet, pwede nyo gamitin nyo approximate na 0.1. Okay. So this is now equal to This is now equal to 0.1 multiplied by 6 stories. So this will give us 0.6, right? Okay. So we now have the value of the fundamental period. So what will be the next step? Okay, so malapit na tayong matapos, don't worry. What will be the next step? Malagay ko dito that our fundamental period is equal to
Mr. Vegas, speaking to the Lord, it said,
your fundamental period is equal to 0.6 seconds. Okay. So next step.
pwede ba tayong mag-insert ng mga
Okay. So once you have identified your fundamental period, you can now proceed with finding the
shape? Sa insert tab, may mga shapes kasi doon. Meron kaya doon yung mga shapes na dati yung naka-hyperlink. Ibig sabihin hyperlink, yung sinabi ni Dr. Kanina, ang kapag-click mo na yung bottom line,
TS and your TL. Okay. So what's our TS formula? What's our TS formula? Your TS formula, I believe this is not in the copy. Nandun sa copy ninyo. Pakicheck naman.
So yung shape, that's hyperlink na insert mo.
Do we have the TS formula there?
Insert mo shape,
Wala.
na siya naka-hyperlink.
So your TS formula is given by SD1 all over SDS. Okay, and this is equal to, what's our SD1 earlier? SD1 is 0.78 and SDS is 1.33. Okay. So, take note na lang ha that this is the formula. I will try to add this one. Kasi i-modify ko yung weak pen. Okay, para masali ko lahat ng formula. So, 0.78 divided by 1.33. Okay. So, what is your SDS value? Yes.
Shape.
0.78 divided by 1.33. What's the value for this?
0.59, sir.
0.59. Okay. How about your TL? Okay. What's your TL, guys? How do you determine your TL? Okay. So, total, medyo naka-constraint na tayo sa time. To determine TL, you have to check your ASCE. So, your ASCE. So, ito yun, guys. So, your TS, okay, your TS is actually your fundamental period for the short period. And then yung TL naman is the fundamental period for the long period. Okay? So, ang range ng short period natin is less than 1 second. Okay, so 0 point something yan. Then long period natin is 1, 2, 3, 4, and etc. etc. Okay, depende yun. So, yung location natin is Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, so Memphis, Tennessee is located somewhere in this portion. Okay, I think it's somewhere in this portion. Okay, so you can check your geography, or you can check the geographic location of your Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. And we can see that the TL, okay, or your fundamental period for long period is equal to 12. Okay, so makikita nyo yun guys sa inyong ASC. Okay, so this is 12. Okay, baka mamaya may magtanong na naman, sir, paano nakuha yung TL? So kung gusto niyo, panoorin niyo na lang yung kung sino yung, panoorin niyo na lang yung video yung i-upload doon sa inyo folder. Okay, so we now have the value of your TS and TL. The next thing that you're going to do is, okay, we're getting there. Dami natin i-determine na variable. So we now have to determine your lateral total design lateral force. So yung lateral force thing yun, that will depend on the base shear value. Okay? So ang formula kasi ng inyong lateral force, okay, this is for the lateral force, is equal to FR or your FI. Sabihin ko lang FX. Okay? Is equal to your WX multiplied by height at that particular X raised to K all over the summation of WI HI raised to K from 1 to N. Okay, so that is your formula, and then nakalimutan natin, multiply natin to ng base shear. Okay. So wala tayong problema with identifying these parameters. We have a problem of identifying this one. So yung mga pinagko-compute natin kanina, baka sabihin niyo, wala naman palang kwenta yan. Gagamitin po natin yung lahat ng yan sa ating design base shear. So what's the formula for our base shear? That is equal to CS multiplied by W. Okay? So your V now, wala yung problema with the W. Wala yung problem with the W, but we have a problem with the CS. We have a problem with the CS. So we have three different formula. We have three different formula for the CS. The first formula for the CS is equal to SDS all over R all over your importance factor. Okay. So second formula for the CS is equal to formula. What's the second formula for the CS? That is SD1. Tama ba? SD1 all over T times R over I. Okay. And then what's the third formula for CS, guys? Okay, as per the copy, as per the copy, yung may T squared, tama ba? May T squared. What's the formula? What is our formula? Can someone dictate it to me? Someone of good soul.
SD1 times TL over T squared
Ano
Time.
yun?
times TL, sir. Times TL.
TL. Times T sub L. SD1 times TL? Tama ba?
SD1 times TL, sir.
Okay. So I'm just times TL all over
Over T raised to 2 times R over importance factor, sir.
So ayan. So this is our formula for the CS. Now, okay, let's try to compute this one. Okay. So what is the value of our SDS? So our SDS kanina is 1.33 all over. What is our R? R, that's 8 over importance factor is 1.5. Okay, what's the value for this? What's the value for this?
0.25, sir.
25, sir.
0.25. Okay, how about here? ST1 is equal to 0.78. Ano ito? Di ba nandito si Jericho? Bakit naman nag-inom na naman siya?
ang gagawin natin or saan natin saan makikita yung
What is wrong with you, Jericho, Mr. Padel?
Sir, di-disconnect kasi yung net ko, sir.
Right. Wala nang so this is 0.78 divided by, what is our fundamental period earlier? That's 0.6 multiplied by 8 over 1.5. Okay. So what's the value of this?
0.24, sir.
0.25 or 24?
24, sir.
How about this? That's D1 multiplied by, so this is 0.78 multiplied by TL. Your TL is 12, right? 12 all over T squared, which is 0.6 squared, multiplied by 8 over 1.5. Okay. So what's the value of this one?
4.88, sir.
4.88. Okay. So ito na yung values natin, guys, for the CS. So sobrang dami ng values natin. The standard formula of the CS is 0.25. So ito yung standard formula. Okay. So kanino natin i-compare itong 0.25? Okay. Is it dito or dito? Saan tayo nag-end kanina? Kay Arduino o Araw, Mark Adrian. Kanino natin i-compare yung 0.25?
Sir, dun sa 0.24 po.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
O bakit? Bakit sa 0.24? If you don't have any idea, you can just say, sir, wala akong idea. So that makakasit
Sir,
tayo.
yung TI po kasi is greater than P. TL. Yung TL po is greater than P po.
So your TL is greater than
P, sir.
your T actual. Tama ba? Is that how we're going to compare it? Okay. So, in order for you to know, guys, kung kanino nyo i-compare yung inyong values, as mentioned earlier, you have to check yung value ng T nyo. Okay. If your T actual is greater than your T, if your T actual is greater than your TL, okay, so that means your TL is actually less than your TA. Okay. So, ito yun. TL is greater than TA, guys. You're gonna use your first formula. Okay, so yung SDS. So yung SDS ninyo or yung SDI rather, yung SB1 here. So kung ganito guys, your TL is greater than your TA, your standard formula will be compared to this particular formula. Okay? Otherwise, if your TL is less than TA, you're gonna compare this here. Okay. Pero, with in terms of the two, sino ang pipiliin natin? Value. Anong value pipiliin natin? In terms of the CS. What's the CS value? Okay, let's continue. Adria, tapos na yan, Kabawatan. What's the CS value? What do you think is the CS value?
Sir, yung 0.24 po.
How about Mary Jane? Do you agree, Mary Jane? Pelahe, do you agree with Miss Kabawatan?
Yes, sir.
Peter, Uy. Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Is it 0.25 or 0.24?
0.24 po, sir.
Figueroa,
0.24 din, sir.
Reggie,
0.24 din po, sir.
Rhea Flores, bakit 0.24?
Sir, kasi mas malaki po yung TL.
Okay, next. Kandangan.
Sir, ganun din po. Since upon comparison po is mas malaki po yung TL. So, parang mas yun po yung nag-govern, sir. So, 0.24 po yung gagamitin, sir.
Okay, next. Asido.
Sir, 0.24, sir, kasi yung seismic response yung CS, kaya dapat yung mas maliit, sir.
Valenzuela.
0.24 din po, sir.
Bakit?
Sir, guess ko lang, sir.
Okay. So, well, we use 0.24. So all of you have a point naman, pero the code actually just stated that your CS, when comparing, upon identifying kung yung TL mo is greater than TA or less than TA, upon identifying, okay, yung inyong computed value ng CS should not exceed the one that's being compared to or compared with. Okay, so 0.25 yan, pero you're comparing it to 0.24. So the value of your CS should not be greater than this one. Otherwise, you're gonna use 0.24 as your CS value. Okay, so we're down to our last computation. So we can now determine our base share. So that is now equal to CS multiplied by your W. Okay. So V now is equal to CSW, or that is equal to 0.24 multiplied by, what's the weight, guys? What is the weight? Okay, so kanina, if we're going to look our list, yung weight natin from level 1 to level 6 is 450 kilopounds. Okay, that is per floor. And then yung roof natin weighs 200 kilopounds. Okay? So, in here, we use 0.24 multiplied by 450. Okay, 450 multiplied by ilang floor yon? We have, hindi natin isasama guys yung nasa base ha. So, we're only gonna use 5 floors lang. Okay, 5 floors. plus 0.24 multiplied by the roof. Okay, 200 kilonewton. Okay, so what's the value of your V? What's the value of your V?
$588, sir.
580.
588.
Okay, so we have 588. Let's check. Okay, 0.24 times 450 times. Okay, 588 kilopounds. So moving on. Okay, so we now have the value of the V. So can we now solve for the force? For the forces, okay? The lateral forces, yes. Okay, so let's start at the group. Okay, so ganito kasi magiging diagram yan, guys. So if this is your building frame system, kunyari, ito yung frame system ninyo. Oops. Nag-pass check ba to or not? Ayan, so if this is your building frame system, okay, and you're gonna divide it into 6 levels. Four and then 6. Yeah, 6-story ka now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have the force of the roof. We have the force of the roof in here. This is your FR. And this is your F5. Or this is your F6. Then this is your F5. And so on and so forth. Okay? Okay. Tapos andito yung base shear natin. Okay. So we're gonna transform the base shear into equivalent forces per tawag dito, forces per level. Okay. So I'm gonna move this. Okay, so let's start calculating the force on the roof. So the force in the roof is now equal to, I think we should just, wait ko na lang here. Your V now is 588K. So I'll proceed to the next page. Okay, for the roof, okay, so your formula is equal to the summation of Wi hi raised to x, and this is Wi hi raised to x. Okay, so for the roof, we have, okay, what's the weight of the roof, guys? What's the weight of the roof? That is 200K. Okay, so this is 200 multiplied by, what's the height of the roof from the ground? What's the height of the roof from the ground? If your height per level is 12. So this is 12 times, 12 times 6. Tama ba? So that makes it 72. Okay. So what's the value of our x there? Actually, this is not x. This should be k. This should be k. What's the value of our k? Okay. So I haven't included this one in the copy that you have, but I will modify it later. So yung K value nyo dyan is actually equal to, okay, so your K equals 1 when the fundamental period, okay, the period T is less than or equal to 0.5. Okay, and K naman is equal to 2 when T is more than or equal to 2.5. Okay, so those are the values of your K. Now, what if your T lies between 0.5 and 2.5? Okay, your K value is by interpolation. Okay, or your K is otherwise equal to 2. Okay. So if you're going to interpolate the value of K, since yung T natin is actually 0.6, okay, so at T.6, 0.6 rather, 0.6 seconds, your K value is what? Okay, you know how to interpolate, guys. You know naman how to interpolate, right? Okay, so I believe your K value will be equal to 1.05. Okay, interpolate nyo lang yan, guys. It's linear interpolation. So, kaya nyo na yun. So, ilalagay ko na lang dito, 1.05. Okay. So, we have 1.05 all over the summation down ng WIHI. So, paano ba ito magsa-summation? I-add lang natin, guys, yung cumulative, cumulative weight of each floor. So, mag-start tayo sa pinakababa. Mag-start tayo sa pinakababa. So that is now first level, that's equal to 450 multiplied by the height of that level from the ground raised to 1.05. Or if you want later on, you can just tabulate this. Plus second floor, 450 times 12. No, it's 24, right? 1224 raised to 1.05. I'm just gonna move this. Okay, plus 450 multiplied by, okay, 24, that's 36, right? 36 raised to 1.05. And then plus, ilang levels na tayo? We have 1, 2, 3, 450 multiplied by 48, tama ba? 48 raised to 1.05 plus 450 times 60. Tama ba? 60? You have 60 na. Raised to 1.05. Kasi yung ating fifth level, or like, yeah, the level 5, the sixth floor is actually, or the floor of the sixth level is 60 feet above the ground, plus 200. Okay, the roof now. We have the roof multiplied by 72 raised to 1.05. Yeah, so I'm gonna put it here and then extend to line here. Okay, so what's the value of your, what's the computed value of your FR? Kung ganyan. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's the computed value of the FR? I forgot. We have to multiply this pa pala with 588. Kasi yung base here, doon sa formula natin. So what's the value of our FR? Okay. While you're doing that, I'm gonna write na din the notation for your floor number 6, or your, yeah, the 6th floor. So for the F6 naman, we have 450. Actually, copy nyo lang naman yun, tapos tatanggalin nyo lang yung roof kasi we are floor 6 na. So, copy ko lang to. $90.92. Okay, so here is 90.92 kilopounds. Okay, and this one is now equal to. Okay, so ang gagawin natin to guys, we just remove yung last row, kasi hindi kasama yung roof sa 6th floor. Ayan, and then papalitan natin ito ng 450. And then this one is 60. Okay, ayan. And tutong natin ng konti. So yung input nyo kanina, tanggalin nyo lang yung nasa baba niya. Ha? Okay, tanggalin nyo lang yung nasa baba and then you just add this. Okay. We're just gonna change it into something like this. Okay. So what will be our F6? That's the 6th floor. Okay. I'm gonna add it here, ha? That's a floor number 6. Okay. Kayo na mag-compute ng floor 5 hanggang dun sa second level. Okay? Hindi na kasama yung ground level, guys, ha? Kasi yung ground level natin ang nag-a-act on is the base shear. Okay, the base shear. Okay, what's your F6? What is your F6? Wala pa. Wala akong calculator here, so I won't be able to give you the answer.
$124.21, sir.
Okay. So, ganyan na po yung ating forces. Now, so yung FR ninyo will act on the roof. Okay, for example, ito yung ating frame. Okay, ito yung roof. So, this is 90.92. Tapos dito naman, this is 124.21. Okay? Tapos yung sum dapat ng lahat ng yan is equal to your base shear. Okay? So if you take the sum of that para ma-check ninyo, kung equal siya sa base shear, ibig sabihin tama yung pinaggagawa ninyo. Okay. So that ends our lesson. Kayo na bahala mag-compute for the F5, F4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay? Now, any questions so far? Clarifications? I don't want anyone asking questions after the class because you are given time to ask questions now. I won't entertain any other questions. Okay, wala na? Tanong? Okay. So with regards to your RT requirement, the deadline will be on May 13. Okay, so you have still have like 2 weeks na lang. May 13. So this should be printed, all of those requirements that I gave dun sa messenger. I-print nyo siya in a short bond paper. And then ipapabookbind nyo yun. Okay, ipapabookbind nyo yun, guys. So I will give you the format of the cover. Upload ko siya sa ating LMS. I won't be accepting e-copies anymore. Bookbind yan. Final requirement na. Okay, baka sabihin nyo na naman, magreklamo na naman kayo sa mahal-mahal ng bookbind. Wala akong pakialam. Okay. Kaya nyo yun. I just need 1 copy per group. Magkano lang magpa-bookbind. Okay. Ayan. So, let me just check your attendance. Okay. Any questions so far? Wala. Yung cover page, guys, i-upload ko na lang ha sa LMS. Okay. So, may question? Wala? Okay. Ayan, I'm going to check your attendance. Please present lang if you are here. Yes, wait. Sabihin niyo yung mga hindi nakapag-attend ngayon, hindi ko pinapasok, which are late. Kung may sakit sila, magbigay sila ng med-cert. Kung invalid naman yung mga rason nila, magpa-booster, mga ganyan. Which is, valid naman magpa-booster, pero it's, ano tawag ito, scheduled ang booster shot, guys. Hindi yan basta-basta. Scheduled yan. Okay. Hindi yung pagkatapos ko mag-check ng attendance, sir, nagpa-booster po, sige nito. Okay. Alam ko na mga ganyang rason is already a finals.